Hey! This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Holy cow. Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
On a Friday. Happy December 27th to you, everybody. This was recorded on December 1st.
I wish. Heck no. I'm excited to be at work today.
I am too. Well, but listen.
We're here at Doug Smith. I'm excited.
Okay.
Let's sell
so
some
I was
cars.
chatting with my, you get more quality time with your kids nowadays.
Oh, I had too much quality time.
That's what I'm saying. So, but my 13-year-old daughter is beyond her years from a maturity standpoint, which she does not get from me. But I was having this conversation with her, and she's like, "Do you like your job?" And I said, "Actually, you know what, sweetie? Yes. I could be complaining about, and I would be if I was on a construction site. I'd be complaining about that job too.
Yeah.
You know what? So here we are, December 27th. We are at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi here in American Fork. You know what that means? That even though we are at work today, it's a freaking party, all right? So we're going to be chatting about all sorts of awesome deals here at the end of the year.
There's a gift right there that hasn't been wrapped.
I know,
unwrapped yet. It's got a bow on it.
Underrated to get the bow on the car.
Oh,
they'll throw that one in there too. I bet Chris will actually tie a bow for you, put it on a car.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, that's just the type
That's
of
the biggest flex.
I would do it. I would do it if I was buying a brand new car this time of year. And by the way, people are doing it for tax purposes, all sorts of and because places like Mitsubishi are doing insane dumb deals, like you may as well come down and take advantage of it, and then ask if the Doug Smith guys will put a bow on the car on the way out. I know at least this one's got a bow on it, so you might as well take advantage. They probably got some in the back. They probably have a guy who just is here dedicated to just that right now. So there you go. JJ. Welcome to your Friday. It doesn't feel like Friday.
Here.
Doesn't feel like a Friday. Brant's here, and
Feels
that
like a
means
Monday.
It does feel like a Monday, and I haven't spoken on the radio for a week, and so
We have a lot to get off our chest.
we do, and there's tons to jump into. Aside from the fact that there's an actual bowl game tomorrow, and
there's one right now.
there actually is one going on.
If you're not watching the Birmingham Bowl,
Stop.
what are you doing?
Is that Vandy and Georgia Tech?
Oh, yeah.
And Vandy's winning that one. By the way,
Yeah.
Diego Pavia, everybody's favorite junior college. He's not anything except for that junior college guy. By the way, from now on,
always be.
He'll always
he
be
beat Alabama.
He beat Alabama, and he's the junior college guy.
He helped Vanderbilt beat Alabama for the first time in like 60 years, but we're going to remember him as the JUCO guy.
Hey, BYU fans, if guys like Darius Lassiter, if guys like Caleb Etienne, if guys like even maybe Jake Retzlaff, which although he's not I think it applies to seniors, like guys who are in their senior year now.
The injunction now allows them to get that extra year, but this is going to win. You're not going to.
Oh,
This is going to be upheld.
What's the NCAA going to do? Not have teeth? Because that's
They have none right now. They're gumming it.
They are absolutely.
They don't even have dentures.
And they go, we're going to appeal this. For now, though, we're going to push all these through.
Sad
so
trombone.
We're
Good
push
luck,
all these through.
NCAA.
BYU versus Colorado firing up tomorrow in the Valero Alamo Bowl. Our program, as always, is brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs that quick, tasty, nutritious boost. We had this morning Kalani Sitake and Coach Dion. What did his placard say at the press conference? Dion, Coach Prime, in parentheses, Sanders. And I think because Kalani kept calling him Dion, Coach Prime did do the move where he was like, this guy's a great coach, man. This guy next to me wearing this outfit, he coaches another football team, and he does such a good job, and I have so much respect for this guy. So there was a lot of that going on, but both Prime and Kalani sat down, and they had a little chat about how things are going to go tomorrow in the bowl game. And the thing that makes the bowl game, JJ, interesting is not just the actual game itself tomorrow. It's everything else that's surrounding it for each of these programs, a Heisman Trophy winner, a first-round draft pick quarterback, maybe even the first quarterback being taken in the draft, depending on how, what boards you're looking at. Although, in some weird way, I don't know how, but Cam Ward got some boost over the last few days, and I'm not sure what
Cam
from.
Ward right now, unless things change, is probably going to be the first.
He's the projected first quarterback to go,
and
Shapiro
most likely
Sanders,
the Giants with the number 1 pick would take him.
God bless. Have fun, and it's a great organization. They know. Look, they exist, and they're in the largest city in the world. So good for you.
I'll take an offensive tackle in the first round, then I'll go get Jackson Dart.
Sure.
Who just declared for the draft, by the way.
You know what? Good for him. Former Corner Canyon, always a Kaysville native in my mind. But there you go. All right. Everything is coming together, though. We've got BYU versus Colorado. We've got Coach Kalani Sitake and Coach Prime at their press conference today, but our program is brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect end-of-the-year treat before you get ready to start that newfangled fitness program that you're going to be starting up in the next few days here. But let's kick things off with the cut. Let's start everything off. Our producer, Alex, also coming into work today on a December 27th. He's also going to be hanging out for the bowl game coverage tomorrow with me. So we've got tons to bring you. We've got tons to jump in on. Let's get right to it. It's the cut, top of the hour.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And Trajan Wealth, of course, brings you this portion of the cut, as it does at this time every day. Trajan Wealth, your local trusted financial fiduciaries, 801-899-7600, or their website, trajanwealth.com. All right, the Buffs and the BYUs facing off in the Valero Alamo Bowl. Let's get your first thoughts on this one. I don't know. What I'm super impressed by, say what you will about Coach Prime, and we've said it all. Criticize what you want to about Coach Prime over the last few years, and we have. They went 9-3 this year, and what they've done is as impressive, maybe if not more than what BYU did, because they also produced their second Heisman Trophy winner in the history of their school in only what year is this for Coach Prime? Is this
second year?
Is this his second year?
Yeah.
Heisman Trophy winner, 9 wins, going to a bowl game. They were on the cusp of being in the Big 12 championship game, like BYU was in a year that people did not want to give them that credit, and he's having his dudes play, and they took out the 2 biggest insurance policies in the history of college football before a bowl game, and they did it for 2 different players. So their money is where their mouth is, and the schools, of course, pay that. They throw the money at that because that's part of what the deal is now as well. So your thoughts on this Colorado team going into this one? And I know that we joke about Prime, but say what you will about the guy. He's having his best players play. His culture is these guys have signed up to play, and they're going to do it.
I'm not joking about Coach Prime anymore. That's bull junk. I'm not doing it. I was a skeptic, and we've been skeptical on this. Even last year, I was like, come on. I mean, they got 4 wins, and our friends in Denver were saying, Colorado hasn't had 4 wins in forever. I'm looking at it, I was like, yeah, but I don't know, man.
There's still no energy surrounding that program.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how they get over the hump, and they did. And you got to give him credit because the question was, can he coach? Can he build a program? He did a good job at Jackson State, but that was FCS level. So coming into this was like, can he really build this at a Power 4 level? Now going into the Big 12 this year especially, and he did it. You know what? All the critics, us included, he shut us up. And you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
He proved all of us wrong. Shapiro Sanders proved us wrong. Travis Hunter proved us wrong. The whole program proved us wrong. They are really, really good. They had a great season. It wasn't a good enough season to get into the Big 12 championship game, but you could make the case that BYU and Colorado is the best bowl game of the year, maybe even counting the college football playoff.
Gosh,
we will see.
Yeah.
And you could also make a case that these 2 teams should have been in the Big 12 championship game. I don't want to take anything away from Arizona State and what they did, especially towards the end of the season, but all year long, it looked like these 2 teams were the best from the start to the finish. They just both didn't finish strong as they should have. So this game's going to be a really good football game. It's going to be the best bowl game that's not in the playoff. There's no doubt about that. I'm excited to see it. I'm really, really excited to see these 2 teams clash. We didn't get to see it in the regular season. I don't care about that. They're in the same conference stuff. They haven't played yet as conference mates. This is a new thing. We've never seen this before. And for BYU to get an opportunity to play against some of the all-time great player in Travis Hunter, You're going to talk about this 20 years from now. We're going to talk about this game 20 years from now when you're talking about BYU football history and what BYU's accomplished. And this is a big game, Alex, for BYU. It's bigger for BYU than it is for Colorado. Colorado doesn't have anything to prove. Everything I just said about Coach Prime and and Travis Hunter's got his Heisman. Shedeur Sanders is going to be a first-round pick. Coach Prime proved us wrong. He built a winner in Colorado, which everyone thought was impossible. They don't have anything to lose. You know who does have something to lose? It's BYU. BYU can't end the season 1-3.
It really.
Is that fair?
Yeah, the more I think about it.
Does that change the way we look at the season?
I think that with the month off that they've had, which is crazy that they haven't played for a month, right? And you wonder how teams are going to deal with that. You wonder what that looks like. And I know that they've had, what did A-Rod say when he had his bowl, press conference? He was like, we're basically having a full spring football with the practices we're having. We're playing hard and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is you don't know what these teams are going to look like when they come back out. And I know there's a couple of players missing on both sides because of transfer portal stuff and blah, 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 whatever. The reality is I think BYU fans have already, and I think they needed this month to kind of remember, because you can, when the season got over, it was definitely a 10-2, but what could have been. And now it's like I think people were able to kind of do this 30,000-foot view thing over the last month and go, awesome year, man. I mean, I think that's happened. However, fans never cease to amaze me on their memories, on where their feelings are on this thing, and how they'll count this season. If BYU goes 10-3, but you go, yeah, but they lost. They went 1-3 in their last 4 games,
and they barely beat Houston.
And that was an icky game. And
it didn't feel good.
No,
didn't feel good.
And so in the end, you'll go, I wonder what kind of BYU team's going to show up. By the way, the series, these two teams have played one another 12 times. 8 of those were before World War II. So I don't think there's a real history of these two teams. And Colorado, those 7 out of the first 8 matchups, Colorado won, and they're 8-3-1 in the history against BYU. BYU, the last time they even played was 1988.
Yeah, the Freedom Bowl, right?
Right, it was in the Freedom Bowl, and then before that they played in 1981. So we're talking about in the last 43 years, they've only played once, right? And so this is not by geography, you would think is kind of wild.
Right.
It's a little bit of that Indiana.
How did they not play Colorado during Independence?
No, I know, and it's part of that. It's part of that Indiana Notre Dame thing where you go, well, is it one side trying to be better than the other? I think in Notre Dame's case, for sure. I'm thinking Colorado and BYU's case, they just were never in the same conferences. They never needed to meet one another. BYU was playing Colorado State forever. They were playing all the other teams from
Air Force.
Right, and all the other teams from Colorado or Arizona or Wyoming. And so they were like, there's not really a space for them. But now I hope that this starts off something. What we've seen so far in this BYU go in the 16-team Big 12 Conference is an Arizona State rivalry that deserves to be propped up even more. And I'm so glad that this year went the way it did. I'm so glad those fans stormed the field. I'm so glad there was some nastiness there. I'm so glad a fan hung out in the health tent on BYU's sideline. It just makes it all part of what you want. You want Arizona to get good. You want Utah to be good. You want all these teams to be able to go, oh, BYU's our rival. Colorado, oh, you want them to say, oh, we hate those dudes, right? And if you're BYU, the way that you can become a bell cow in a conference like this is having everybody not like you, right? I mean,
it's like the good old days. Remember?
It's exactly right.
In the WAC in the Mountain West, who was the most hated team?
Right, and who are the most
BYU by a mile?
Who are the most hated teams in all the conferences across the country? It's the ones that are good, right? I mean, it's your Ohio State.
How many teams in their history had Sports Illustrated publish an article specifically about how you're the most hated team in the country?
Right, and so I love this, and I hope it's the start of the opposite of friendship. You know what I mean? I want there to be some animosity there. I want it to be good football.
You want a Kalani Sitake, Coach Prime fist fight?
Yes.
At the end of the Alamo Bowl.
I want Colorado apologizing for the way its students treat the BYU fans when they came to the stadium. I want all that.
Well,
maybe that's a little bit too much.
We're approaching is it the 12th year anniversary of the Beach Brawl?
Oh yeah. You know what?
I was there.
This time 12 years ago, Kainakua took his helmet off and swung it at a Memphis player because, that old BYU-Memphis rivalry, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can hate anybody for a day. That's my thing about bowl games. Let's roll this out, though. I want you to.
It was 2014, by the way.
I have.
So it is the 10th anniversary.
10th anniversary, just like BYU wants to remember.
They're all.
What can we bring up? You know what?
Not so great moments in BYU football
I don't think
history.
you're going to see that one floating around on their socials today. I don't.
So you're saying we shouldn't do that show?
You know what? Let's have it. Hey, Lloyd, let's have a round table. Let's have a Miami Beach Brawl 10-year anniversary round table.
Have Kai Nakua come on.
You know he'd do it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Here was the conversation that was had today from the podium down in San Antonio, the Alamo Bowl, Kalani Sitake and Coach Prime sitting down at the podium. And Kalani starting things off talking about how much they want to be there, how glad they are to be there. And you can get a vibe from these two guys that, one, they've respected what one another programs has done all year because they are in the same boat. No one gave them credit. They love pointing that out, by the way. And it starts off with Kalani talking about how excited he is to be able to play in this football game.
I was excited to play the game. I mean, during the when we were playing conference play, there was a lot of crossover games. And so we saw a lot of Colorado film because we were playing their opponents, And so when you start looking at that, you start realizing, man, this is a really gifted team. And that caught our attention. And when we knew that this could have been a possibility, I was really excited about the game more than anything. The motivation from our players when it was finalized, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of next level players on Colorado's team, and I think we have a lot of guys that want to prove that they belong there too. And but you can't deny the fact that they have tons of talent. They have a Heisman Trophy winner and a lot of draft picks on that side. So what we saw with our eyes is definitely coming to fruition in the way that Coach Prime's got his team ready. So we have to be at our best, and we're looking forward to that. And if you guys have been around me quite a bit, you know that that's what I want for our team, and this is a great motivation going into this game tomorrow.
As a springboard, I mean, it's a game that we want to win. We're not just making a cameo here just to show up. We don't do that. We have a valued opponent, a guy that's his team is well coached, they're disciplined, they're structured, they get after it, on both sides of the ball. And they got some tremendous players. And they're not going to make mistakes. We're going to have to beat them. They're not going to allow us to beat them. They're going to play the game of football like they've been taught to play. I'm excited, man. I'm truly excited. I love this man in many facets, not just as a coach, but as a man. We know people who knows people who has validated who he is, what he is, how he is when the cameras ain't on. And I love every bit of it. His shoe game is on point today as well. He's clean. He's got the jacket. I had no idea, but it's not like I would have changed anyway, but he's looking really good. And he's won the dress-up match today. He got me, and I'm not happy about that.
I got one outfit, man. This is about it. So if we switch wardrobes right now, I'm pretty sure that I would get a lot more from it than you would. And I could never make that work, But just really appreciate Dion being there, just being open and being so kind to me. And when we first met, and you guys went around when we first met, it was a great interaction for me. I mean, I grew up watching him and cheering for him.
Ain't that old, man?
I know he's just a little bit older than me, but that means that he was making plays when he was young. That's what I'm trying to say.
That makes me feel
yeah, but and I grew up a Niners fan, so I liked him better when he's a Niners uniform than when he was wearing another one. But he played Atlanta with people that I knew and with a coach that I had when I was at BYU and Brian Mitchell, things like that. So there's a lot of connections, and when I got to meet him, so genuine and so kind to me, and just with his time and just with his knowledge, man. I think it was a lot of fun for me, just being able to meet somebody that had so much influence in the game, and then being just kind and gracious with his time, and it was such a great feeling for me when we met, and I feel like he's my guy. We were able to talk about a bunch of stuff, especially with college football and how much it's changing. And I'm able to lean on his intelligence and his advice. And we have a really good relationship, a good friendship, and I love him back. We just can't love each other for about 3.5, 4 hours tomorrow, and away we go. But the respect, we have a lot of respect. You could tell from the teams we've been here all week, and then there's a lot. We're trying to enjoy the festivities and all that, but we're getting close to game time. I think a lot of guys are getting it ready for game mode, and
That's right.
it's going to be a lot of fun, though. But there's tons of respect that we have for Colorado and what they've been able to accomplish, and really looking forward to this matchup more than anything.
I know that you're going to be focused on the game tomorrow, but I wonder, will there be a moment
Yes.
where you're going to embrace the fact that you're walking on the field for the final time with your two sons?
Yes. Don't forget Travis. Okay, don't forget Travis, and don't forget the multitude of seniors that we have, because I love them all to life. But yes, that will be. I've been trying to shy away from that moment because I know the last home game. It was the last home game, but it wasn't the last game. But this is it. So it is. I got upset with Shiloh yesterday, and I told him we got 48 hours, son. 48 hours, and all this is over. So it's going to be something to behold. I don't know how I'm going to handle it. I know Travis is going to trigger me. I know he, because he always does, and he's going to bring tears out my eyes. But I don't look forward to it, but I do, because that means they're going to another level, another chapter of life, and they're going to soar. And I'm thankful that I feel as though we've equipped them with all the tools necessary to be successful.
Coach Sataki, in the first year of the 16-team league, I was just wondering, since for those of us who don't talk to you a lot, your thoughts on how things transpired this year and how the Big 12 stacked up against the rest of the country.
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak for the games that we played in, but highly competitive, a lot of parity. The reason being, you look at the predictions and none of it came true. So the fact that anybody has a shot in this conference, and then I think, for a lot of the coaches, when you listen to them, we played 9 conference games, and that's something that not all the conferences do. And so there's not a lot, when you're trying to compare to conferences, I don't know how else to do it. I recommend that we should just play like basketball does, like in the preseason games. Let's match up our conference against another conference and just match them all up, and then we get to our conference games, and I think everybody could feel good about whatever the results would be. But that's kind of like how basketball does it. So, but I do know that. We've been independent for a while, so being in this conference is something that's super special. We enjoy it in all sports, not just with football, but we're enjoying it, having fun with it. But we definitely have tons of respect for this conference and the teams in it, the coaches. I think Dion will tell you that you look at it's well-coached teams everywhere, and it just keeps getting better and better, and it's an honor for me to be part of that.
For both coaches, but starting with Coach Prime, you guys have really leaned into the pageantry and tradition of playing in a bowl game at a time where maybe other places in college sports haven't leaned in as much. Why is it important to you to take this game so seriously?
Maybe because neither of us was supposed to be here. Remember, we're supposed to be at the crib right now, focusing on recruiting and focusing on improving our rosters. But nevertheless, we're here. Not only that, but nevertheless, we're a few plays away from playing, in another week or so. So we know what we have, and we're happy about it, and we're not going to take this for granted. This is a blessing, man. Like, when you're on the outside of this stuff and you looking in and you want to get there, you're like, dang. Then you get to a bowl and you're going to sit there and act ignorant, like you don't want to play in something you thrive to do. You know how many people wish they could be in our situation? So we're going to take full advantage of it. All these kids are playing. All our kids are playing. We're going to play our toughest, our hardest. This is a game. This is not just a routine. This is a game that both of us want us to win. So we're taking it serious because we were predicted not to be here by some of you wonderful folks.
Just to add on that, the pageantry of it all is it's a lot of fun, and I think we sit there and think that it's only the players and the team benefit from it, the coaches, but the fans do too. I got to meet Miss Peggy yesterday, and that was awesome. I mean, I've seen and heard about her, and then I got to give her a quick hug and talk to her for a quick minute, and that was super special. But the fact that we're forgetting the fans are a part of this too, and then we plan on seeing all our fans in the stadium tomorrow. So that they're enjoying all of it, and I love it, and I speak for Dion in this one. We love seeing our fans happy. Right. So that's a big part of why we're at where we're at, and our players also. And I can tell you this: watching Colorado, they love to play football, and so do we. So this is, when it's all said and done, it's a game of football, and if nobody showed up and if there are no cameras there, we would still play, because these guys love to play the game on both sides, and we're looking forward to it.
Coach Kalani Sitake and Coach Prime at the podium today. That was this morning. The Alamo Bowl, of course. I love how Kalani keeps calling it the Valero Alamo Bowl. I'm like, you get a quarter every time you mention the Valero?
You got to mention the sponsors.
Come on, man. Let's go.
Got to mention the sponsors.
And then there's Coach Prime. He's like, this game is so important, man. This bowl game, and the people that represent this bowl game. You're like, I don't think he knows the name of the bowl game either. Oh my goodness,
it's right there on the sign.
You can say it, and Kalani's the guy. We make fun of Prime all the time because he's so much. And guess what? If you think that it is a coincidence that Mike Vick is getting a job right out of the gates, coming to the college level, who was it that was also hired?
Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson,
yeah, Delaware State.
Going to Delaware State. You think that's do you think that
No,
that is it is a move that these teams are making where they go?
These programs realize now, look, we got these young kids, and these are the guys they looked up to, and now they want to go be their coach, and they realize these guys are smart. And they understand how to run a program.
They understand the money part of the business,
yes.
which has now become a part of the college game.
They get it.
Yeah.
I think Coach Prime is prepared the way for a lot of former NFL players to get college jobs because Belichick gets it.
Right.
I think
years ago.
Belichick's no dummy. You think Bill Belichick didn't take this job understanding that he was going to get into this, knowing that I've been dealing with free agency, paying guys, all this stuff for a long time.
I'm already equipped.
This is nothing different than what we're doing in the NFL.
It's crazy.
We're ready for this.
Well, and if you think 5 years ago, Michael Vick would have never been considered for these jobs that he was considered for, because they look now and they went, "Oh, we just need a guy who's going to manage the program, and that can keep these guys in check, that these young men can look up to, that they can dip in with, and if it gives us an advantage to steal guys out of the portal, so be it. And if we can get some money into the program, so be it.
This is the new world."
We'll come back. We got more to go. Stay right here. When we return, we've got stuff to jump in. It's a day before the bowl game type of a day, so we've got lots to jump into. We have actual games that are going on. All right, we're gonna have to have a little bit of a come to Jesus moment on our predictions of the college football playoff.
I'm
predictions.
an idiot.
Well,
Where's the drop?
So am I. So am I. We both have a red. Pick on both of our picks, and that means that we were just about a third of the way there.
Alabama should have got him.
You should have let. Hey, you should.
Kirk Herbstreit was right.
I knew it. Now I didn't want to say anything, but could we get Notre Dame in there twice? Could Notre Dame's second team come in and be another team in this?
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back and we'll go over some of those picks and why the college football playoff so far has not paid off the way that we've wanted it to, at least from a competitive standpoint. Stay with us. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. When did Mike Brown get fired? 10 minutes ago?
Something like that. Yeah, Mike Brown, Sacramento Kings head coach, fired.
I saw him getting real pissy about his guys not because what was it, a De'Aaron Fox late foul?
He indirectly called out a superstar player, and less than 24 hours later, he's unemployed.
He gone. Mike Brown is a guy that every organization he's gone to, they probably don't deserve him, and they end up firing him anyway.
Exactly.
So
LeBron,
good job,
LeBron
Lakers.
Ran him out of LA.
Yeah, it's dude, come on.
I'm still going to blame LeBron for that.
But hey, Svi Mykhailiuk got 18 points last night?
Yeah.
Svi for three.
Oh,
there's a lot of that. There was a lot of that
good.
last night, and 6 for 12 from three, so 50% from the three. My favorite is in the post game. They're asking these questions, and all these guys. I say these guys, these NBA players. They all do really think I actually need the ball 100% of the time.
That's how they got to the NBA.
Right.
They all believe they're the guy.
Where did Svi Mykhailiuk play? He played at Kansas, right?
Yes.
He was a Kansas guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you go to a place like Kansas, you're pretty highly touted. You know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And you know what he's doing? He's getting minutes for Will Hardy. Will Hardy's not taking him out. He's not taking Isaiah Collier out at the end of that game last night. And Collier had a couple of bad miscues at the very end, but it was just bad defense too. I mean, they were just – would they give up 40-something points in that fourth quarter?
Yeah.
And And you know what? I was not in the mood for them to win 3 games on that road trip anyway.
Right. Like, this is great news. Like, they're winning too much. Like, hey, guys, you need an L, man.
Oh, my goodness.
We know the assignment here.
They're like, you almost won 3 games on this road trip. Settle down.
Yeah. Like, last night was the perfect scenario for the Jazz. They played really well, and they were in a really close, tight-fought game.
Yep.
And they lost.
Yep.
You can be happy with that.
Yeah, and Locke wasn't.
Well,
but that's his job, kind of not to be. And part of it was ugly at the end of the game, like the way that the sloppiness got there. The youth of the team really shone out, and that's at the same time that you have a guy like Lauri Markkanen on the floor, and Lauri is he's still the guy, and he's surrounded by a bunch of guys who are not yet, right? And so that's the look right now of the team. It's all about how you market it, and I'm going to market this next part of the show like that. You and I, we both went 3-1 in our predictions of the college football playoff.
That sounds good on the surface.
It does, except
it's a winning record, right?
Except for you and I both had just straight out like, oh, that's my upset special. Wow. And I embarrassed myself by saying Indiana was going to upset Notre Dame. I always have like a little bit of part of me that goes, hey, Notre Dame, I don't think you deserve to be there, and they absolutely showed that they were. And I hate to admit it, those freaking gold domes looked amazing in the lights at home. The gold lettering on their jerseys. Again, I'm not a Notre Dame guy, but, man, it looked good. And they looked good winning that game, and they were obviously the better team in that one. And, what was the final in that one, too?
Does anyone care?
3 scores. I know that SMU.
Blowout city.
I know that SMU, which was your straight up you had the 11 seed beating the 6 seed. I had the 10 seed beating the 7 seed. You had SMU beating Penn State, and it's not like neither of us believed in Penn State much this year.
No, and I don't know if I still do.
No, but that just shows you kind of. I don't know what we're getting right now, JJ. Is it egg on the face of all of us across the world of college football that we're hoping that we weren't just going to watch all the SEC teams, and now the SEC teams are being validated with their feelings of, well, I told you should have put us in that game. You think because the reality is I guarantee Notre Dame has I guarantee Alabama has a better game against Notre Dame than Indiana did. I guarantee that they do. They have a better game against.
Why you guarantee that?
I just,
what did Alabama do at Oklahoma 2 weeks before?
It's not about that. It's just that I feel like I know that they've been there before. I know that they would show up in a different way. I know that they would. Same thing with SMU. Like, you just had the vibe like, oh, shoot, you guys are 5 years too early on this.
But Tennessee went and got their butt kicked.
They really did.
Yeah, that wasn't close either.
No. None of these games have been good, by the way.
Well, here's
how pissed am I about all this? None of these games have been any good. I thought they were going to all go to overtime, and we were going to get some upsets. We were going to have some Cinderella stuff, and not one freaking lick of that left so far.
Not in year one. And here's the truth. The 12-team playoff is the right direction. It was the right decision. It's the right way for the sport to go. But in this first year, there were not 12 teams good enough for the playoff.
Okay.
And that was clear. That was clear by the first-round games, right? The gap between the teams that were hosting and the teams that visited them was pretty wide, including Tennessee and Ohio State. This wasn't SMU. They were in the AAC 2 years ago or last year. They weren't ready for that. It's ridiculous that they got in. They should have put Ole Miss and Alabama in. Same with Indiana. Indiana's not this or that. Their schedule was crap. It was. It was. Their schedule didn't prepare them for this. But what does prepare you for going to South Bend in December when the other team has how much rest? Like, there's so many factors that go into this, and it's all new.
Yep.
All of this is new. We're learning as we go here with this. So the first year, dud, right? Games weren't great, blowouts. The higher seed teams dominated. They were the home teams. I think eventually this is going to even out, and you're going to get an unbelievable product. Unbelievable product. But first year, I just don't think there was enough depth of good teams. You're going to continue to see talent in college football spread out and even out, and you're going to have better games moving forward in the college football.
I already think that Alabama would have been a better game. Let me throw some just to play devil's advocate and to go back and second-guess everything.
Okay.
Ready? Would Miami have shown out better?
No.
I don't think so either. Would Ole Miss have shown out better?
No.
Would South Carolina have shown out better?
No.
I don't know.
Like I said, there were not 12 teams that were good enough for the 12-team playoff this year.
Would Illinois have shown up?
See where we're going?
Sorry.
But you know who you just passed there?
BYU. Yeah. BYU was
do you
right
feel
between
like
Clemson and Iowa State.
when
there.
BYU was 9-0, I felt like they should have been there. But
Yeah, they've
now
lost
looking
2 out
back
of the
on
last
it,
3 games.
they didn't get it done. So there were not 12 teams that were college football playoff worthy this year. But in the future there will be, and it's going to be amazing. Just not this year.
We still have to make some of these game predictions as well. We'll do that coming up a little bit later. Because my fingers are crossed. Although it's weird because who's the favorite in that Boise State matchup? When you look at Boise State and Penn State, do you look at Penn State and go, "Oh yeah, the underdog Nittany Lions"? It's like not really. But
no,
at the same time,
they're the favorite, right? By 11. Oh wait, no, they're 11. They're minus 11.
No way.
No, that's Boise State.
Is Boise minus 11? Because that's aggressive. There's no freaking way, right? Okay, no.
Yeah,
Boise,
yeah.
So Boise's plus 11, which means, Penn State's favored by 2 scores in this game?
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
That's a lot. And that's disrespectful to Boise State.
That's the 3 seed. That's the 3 seed.
That's the 3 seed that had the bye. Right?
We got it wrong.
So
hey,
look, I mean, if Boise State, and there's a lot of pressure on Boise State in this game. If they lay an egg, everyone's going to look stupid in this.
Hey, this is a good time for you to apologize to the SEC. I'll let you have the
floor. Not a chance. Not a chance.
I'll let you have the floor to apologize to the SEC.
I owe the SEC nothing.
Gosh, Oklahoma had a good game today against.
I have nothing to say.
They lost their bowl game
to Alabama Jones, and
Jones.
Kirk Herbstreit, and all the SEC honks.
Alabama Jones looking way too serious over there.
They deserve nothing.
I love it. Okay, let's take another break. We'll come back. We've got more to go. When we return, we've got a couple things to jump into. In fact, why don't we? I don't know. Let's make our numbers predictions when we come back. We'll do those game predictions because we got to sneak them in because the rest of the show we're going to be kind of up against it here. We're going to have right around the corner, starting at 4 o'clock. We're going to have Jake Shapiro. He, of course, is on our sibling station, Denver Sports, there across the mountain, and he is a big Coach Prime fan. So he's been on Coach Prime.
Reason.
He's been on Coach Prime for a long time. And we can't fault him because he's been dead right so far. So Jake Shapiro is going to join us at 4 o'clock. But we'll have our other game predictions next for the next round of the college football playoff, the quarterfinals, and that action. So stay with us. 97.5 BKSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. We are at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi here in American Fork. Happy December 27th to you. We're going to chat with Chris Smith in just a couple of moments here. In the meantime, on the back of Mike Brown being fired from another team that is a professional basketball team in the state of California.
Is there some kind of award he can give for
like,
by getting fired by all of them?
Hey, man, are the Clippers hiring? Oh, absolutely. You trying to run the you trying to get the trifecta? We could set you up for a quad if Steve Kerr leaves his gig pretty soon here. Get fired from.
He was an assistant there.
I know.
He did coach there.
Get fired from every head coaching gig. Would you rather get fired in the NBA from an NBA job or an NFL job?
What difference does it make?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Is the money guaranteed?
The NFL, yeah, the money's kind of funny.
I think you'd rather get fired as an NBA guy because it's just everybody gets fired eventually. In the NFL, it's just like there's this
but
like
the NFL,
wall of shame in the NFL.
Oh yeah, but you can hide behind
like Eberflus with the Bears will never get
yeah.
another job in the NFL again.
He will as a coordinator in like 2 seconds because they like hiring those guys. Like they're all Mike Zimmer, you're an awful head coach. Will you come be our defensive coordinator? You're a genius. You know, like that happens in the NFL all the time. And the NFL, if you get fired as a head coach, you can always be like, yeah, it's my damn coordinators, man. And you can fire them first, and then you kind of like buffer yourself. In the NBA, you can't be like, I'm firing my entire bench staff.
That never happens.
But see, that's what I'm saying is in the NFL, they'll fire everybody before you'll finally go. They're like, hey, the Grim Reaper came for you.
It's you, man.
It's actually you, bro.
It's you.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so from a college football playoff standpoint, we don't – because we're going to chat with Chris here in a minute, but I do want to get to the playoff game predictions the rest of the way, but we'll do that I think coming up next hour. But I'm just because the more I look at it, oh my goodness, is Vanderbilt still winning in the
by a point
fill in the blank bowl? Man,
Birmingham Bowl,
the Birmingham Bowl. Okay, so all of the other college football playoff games that we have the rest of the way, you have Texas Tech and Arkansas tonight in the Liberty Bowl. You also have the Las Vegas Bowl, which is tonight, right? Yeah, you got USC and Texas A&M.
That's right.
On paper, that sounds like a good game, but those are two teams with a combined 10 losses between the two of them.
Isn't that crazy?
A 6-6 USC team. Just call it the overhyped bowl. Teams with the most hype with zero delivering.
That's exactly
on
what
hype.
that is.
Because Texas A&M.
How many coaches are being paid by those two programs that aren't coaching tonight?
I don't know.
And how soon will it be Lincoln Riley added to it as well?
All right. Here's what we're going to do. Because Chris is apparently with a customer.
Good. That's awesome.
Just like him, dude.
We can talk.
Get on the radio, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm chatting with somebody about how to give him a better car." Fine, we'll let Chris do that. Doug Smith, Mitsubishi here in American Fork.
That actually tells you
someone's
coming in here to get one of those PHEVs.
They drove the Outlander out the doors.
It's
the one
gone.
that all blacked out one while we're here just went out the door. So if you want to take advantage of these deals, and JJ, you and I've been here. This is like our 4th or 5th time in the last couple of months, so we're kind of as well versed in this product as anybody else here. From a technology standpoint, you're not going to get any better. It's a perfect setup in the car. They know how to do it. These are Japanese built. They're 10-year, 100,000-mile warranties on these cars, so they back them up because they're like, look, give it a shot. Give it a shot. And give it a shot for 10 years and 100,000 miles. Have them pay your services through the first 60,000 miles of the car. Have them, really, honestly, $398 down out the door and $398 a month on a lease on these Outlander plug-in hybrids. You know what that is? That's almost 70 miles to the gallon, MPGE. It's a phenomenal deal, and you're going to be able to take advantage of it.
So they're taking $11,000 off the price right out the door. So, I mean, it's amazing. It's like one of those things where, like, if you have a preconceived notion about what a lease is, like, I'm never doing a lease, I'm never buying a new vehicle, I get all that. I understand. I'm with you.
A lease used to be like,
I'm with you.
Your customer.
Alex, I've never bought a new car, and I've never done a lease. And I'm sitting here in the breaks. I'm talking about maybe this is time.
I know.
I have to think about this because
honestly,
$398 a month and $398 down. It's not $398 a month and $5,000 down, and then the interest rate stuff.
Right.
No, $398 down, $398 a month.
So the sticker price on the one that just went out,
3-year lease,
the $398 down, $398 a month. The sticker price on that car is $47,500.
Right.
Okay, so an almost $50,000 vehicle for $398 down, not another $4,800 due at signing. We're saying $398 out the door, and your first month payment is going to be $398.
And you're getting 70 miles to the gallon?
Yes. So
that's a killer deal. That's
I'm
why
basically I'm just trying to sell JJ on this whole thing. That's become my life goal.
Well, I was staring at that black one, and it's gone. I missed my opportunity.
Well, I think they have a few more on the lot here. So come test drive them for yourself. Come see what they're doing here at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi in American Fork. Where do you find it? Just east of the freeway by about a half a mile. It's the American Fork In-N-Out exit.
Yeah,
so
you've
that's
been there.
I was going to say.
If you got to go to In-N-Out, you know what we're talking about.
And by the way, I love how you might think to yourself, oh, people have been eating a bunch of crazy food. They're not going to go to In-N-Out today. Oh, no, they're there. They're all there.
The line is
They're
long.
all still there. So if you're waiting in line, you'd actually have a better shot getting a Mitsubishi today at the Doug Smith
right.
than you
There's
would.
no line here to test drive. Come down and do it.
No. Come down and check it out for yourself. They honestly, great people to work with. Chris has been awesome so far. He's been one of the coolest guys to get to know over the past couple of months for us. And so come down and just say, hey, I heard you guys talking about it on the radio. Can I at least drive it? And the answer is going to be yes. Give it a shot for yourself. Ask them about the details. They're not hiding anything, okay? Not like some other dealerships. They're not hiding anything. Come take a look. They want you to get to know the Mitsubishi. And if you haven't thought about them first, then maybe start to think about them right now. Just come right down to the American Fork exit here at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi and test drive one today. We'll come back. We've got more to go. Around the corner, we've got Jake Shapiro from Denver Sports who's going to join us and chat a little bit about Coach Prime in this Colorado-BYU matchup tomorrow in San Antonio at the Alamo Bowl. Stay with us, 97.5 BKSL Sports Zone.
The insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Okay, everybody, welcome on back. Thanks for being with us. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I love how Mike Brown has been reportedly let go. Reportedly let go.
He wasn't on the plane.
There's no such thing as reportedly let go. Like, you're gone. Like, you know? It's like one thing to be like, he reportedly was in a car accident. It's another to be like, he's reportedly been let go. Like, they're going to another game. They should probably get ahead of the fact that they don't have a head coach right now.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Doug Christie's going to take over.
Again, the retreads,
Yeah.
right? The retreads of all the names. So Mike Brown, the latest in the long list of NBA coaches that have lost their gigs. And, you know, I'm trying to think of, you know, it's not like we follow the Sacramento Kings really, really closely, except for when they're playing the Jazz. But
I try not to.
Well, I know. Well, they lost to the Pistons, and technically they have a worse record than the Pistons.
They've lost 5 in a row.
And the names that are on that roster, you kind of go, yeah, what's the deal here?
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be – this is the same team that overachieved a couple of years ago, right? But now you've got DeMar DeRozan. And now
basically got 3 All-Stars.
You got Darren Fox. Malik Monk is pretty darn good. And, you know, you've had injuries this year, of course, to your big. And, because Sabonis has been out, yes?
He's missed 3 games.
For a good chunk of the last week or so. So, yeah.
It was just crazy. You have 3 players that average over 20 points per game.
Yep.
And you're not winning.
Can't do it.
You know, maybe it is time for a change. Maybe it is. That's just crazy, though, because Mike Brown's a well-respected guy in the league.
Yeah.
But every time it ends with him getting fired, which is just, I guess that's the business, right?
Yeah,
it's hard.
and usually that's not the the Kings come across as a little bit more level-headed, I think, than most franchises. They were kind of pulling their stuff together, but because everything the development was protracted. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, you're supposed to be doing this thing. You're supposed to be getting it going now. You know what I mean? Like you need to be
the
going
expectations
now.
were very high.
Yeah,
and that's
a weird thing for a franchise that never went to the playoffs for like 20 years.
That's a one-team town, and they love the Kings like we love the Jazz here, and they expected this team to be contending, and they're not. And it's going the wrong direction with this core, and I think this is a franchise hitting the panic button.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to kick off the program as we always do. It's brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Give it a shot for yourself. We're going to kick things off. We've got tons to jump into because Jake Shapiro, our buddy from Denver Sports, is going to be joining us. And you got to give credit where it's due. Jake Shapiro's been on the Coach Prime train. That's where we're going to start things off here with the cut. Let's jump right in.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And no better time for us to mention, of course, that this hour and the cut brought to you by the folks at the Doug Smith family of dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and now in Linden, of course. And we are at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi today in American Fork. Joining us on the program right now, he covers all sorts of things for Denver sports, but one of the things he's been doing is, of course, covering Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes for Denver sports. He's Jake Shapiro, friend of the program, been on with us a bunch of times. Jake, what's going on, man?
Just a great time of year. A lot of sports going on, and very excited to watch a great NBA game. You're talking NBA there tonight. We've got the Nuggets and the Cavs in Denver. The NBA best against the Nuggets team that's been middling. So a lot of stuff going on here in Denver.
Well, if you're going to start with the NBA, then that's where we're going to start here. We'll get to the Buffs. We've got plenty of questions about that. But the Nuggets, how worried are people in Denver right now?
I would say almost out of 10. Like, we're talking about people, fans talking about major shakeups. They're worried about the long-term contract that was just signed with Jamal Murray. A lot of people are wanting a major trade, whether that be the Michael Porter Jr. for Zach LaVine stuff that's floating around. I personally am not quite there because I don't think that there is a major trade that takes the Denver Nuggets from this second tier back to a contender. I think they simply need Jamal Murray to play like the all-star that he has been in the past.
It's funny that you brought that up. Wouldn't it be nice to be pouting about your team, your world champion, not that long ago, world champion Denver Nuggets, and how things are struggling a little bit? Like that.
It used to be role reversal. It used to be us covering the Jazz being like, we know what it's like to be on that other side. And Man, it's a lot more fun when
Yeah.
you can complain about your team not reaching expectations.
It's fine.
As opposed to doing what the Jazz are doing right now.
Well, and then if we're going to go full on and just go the full tour of not the full tour, but some of the tour of course, the Utah Hockey Club has been of massive interest for us this year with the new franchise here in town, and
they're playing the Avalanche tonight.
And now the Avalanche have started to turn in what we thought they were going to be, which is a really, really good team in the Central Division, the hardest division in hockey.
Yeah, and you look at the Avs today, they made a major move. They inked their goalie Blackwood to a 5-year contract at $5.25 million. And this is the guy that they hope, and looking at the talent, and you go back to Blackwood's performance in the World Juniors and how he was thought of as a prospect, that the Avs hope can be maybe a reclamation project, a guy that they can get something out of that other teams haven't, because this team is the rare aberration in hockey, a team that was so good that they didn't even need a goalie to win a Stanley Cup. And now they know they need a goalie to get them back to the heights that they've reached just a couple of years ago. The Avs still have some problems with some depth scoring, but Joel Kvitova has been absolutely on fire for the Avs lately. And then you look at that top-end talent, and there's not many teams in hockey that have two better players than McKinnon and Makar. So if you get something solid out of Blackwood and then you get some depth scoring, the Avs are right back in that contention tier. The problem is they have not had that goalie consistently the last couple of years, and that's why they made the move for Blackwood.
Well, we're excited to host the Avalanche tonight. You can hear that game right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Right across
7:30 p.m. is when the puck hits the ice, so looking forward to that. We're also looking forward to the Alamo Bowl, Jake, and I know you are too, and Colorado fans have been waiting a long time for even this opportunity. What does this mean, before we dig into some of the nuts and bolts of this game, what does it mean for Colorado to get back to a bowl game?
It means a lot. This is the first bowl game the Colorado Buffaloes have been to in a full season since 2016. This is really meaningful to the folks in Boulder. I know college football has changed a lot and the goals of college football have changed a lot, but all of this has happened since Colorado's last bowl win. The Buffs haven't won a bowl game since 2004, right? So the whole world of college football has changed since Colorado last won a postseason game. So this still means a lot to the people in Boulder and the people that have been around this program for a while. So it's very cool to see that Shapiro, Sanders, and Travis Hunter are going to play in this game, and that this has been made a priority by Deion Sanders, and not just like some of these bowl games we've seen where the teams are rolling out a zombie version of themselves. So this means something to the folks in Boulder. And, they've been to the Alamo Bowl twice in the last couple of years, 2016 and 2020. Both times have been a loss. This time, basically, what we're looking at here is the third-place game in the Big 12, right? It's the two teams that just missed playing in the Big 12 title game, and we thought at one point we're going to meet in the Big 12 title game. So this is a pretty fun game, I think, all around.
Let's talk a little bit about, every time we would have you on over the past couple of years, it was to basically go, what's going on with Coach Prime? Nobody's believing this hype, but you were one of those guys who were always like, look, I know that they haven't done a lot yet because it's brand new and it's all a shiny new toy when you have a guy like Travis Hunter and a guy like Shapiro Sanders at quarterback, and then to be able to not just exceed expectations, but also add the second Heisman Trophy winner in the program's history on top of, the amount of first-rounders they're going to have this year. And then Prime, weirdly, Jake, I think a lot of folks maybe thought he'd usher his kids out and then he would go, anyway, thank you so much. No indications of that. He's adding more guys. He's adding big names, big prospects. They want to come play for a guy like Prime when they see him turn it around. What has been the effect of having him there and doing this and practicing all the things that he preaches, even if he's not the everyday nuts and bolts like in doing the X's and O's with this team every day?
I think it goes as simply as this. In the modern era of recruiting, before Coach Prime stepped foot on campus, Colorado had 3 5-star recruits. None of those 3 5-stars had really worked out, but they had 3 5-star recruits. Now today, as I talk to you, the Colorado Buffaloes, in their program history, have had 6 5-star recruits. He's doubled the amount of 5-star recruits the Buffs have had in their program's history in just the last couple of years. Getting Juju Lewis, the quarterback from Georgia, is such a big get for the future of this program. None of us know for sure if he's going to start for the Buffaloes next year. He reclassified, so he's only 17 years old, and they brought in a transfer quarterback as well. I don't think anyone in their right mind expects the Bucs to be better next year, right? They're losing probably the number one quarterback to the NFL draft, as well as maybe the number one pick or number two pick in Travis Hunter. So I don't think anyone expects the Bucs to get better somehow next year while losing those guys. But you're seeing the program being built. And the talent around that's been brought in by Prime, which I'm trying to talk about right now, that's what's been so impressive, because aside from the aberration that was the 2016 season, the Buffaloes have not had consistent NFL talent on campus, and that's what Deion Sanders has provided, as well as making this program legitimate. You know, there is a lot of, I don't know, hogwash, whatever you want to talk about, hype, right? Like, I'm a straight shooter. We call
it bull junk if we're gonna talk
right,
about it.
Exactly, bull junk, as Deion Sanders says. But the end of the day, they still won 9 games this season, and they haven't done that besides 2016, going all the way back to the mid-early 2000s. So this stuff still is impressive. While the hype might overshadow what's actually being done on the field, this program has taken a giant leap forward.
Jake, I think this might be the best bowl matchup of the season, and that may include the college football playoff games we'll see coming up next week. But this is a great matchup, and it's a great matchup because the best players are playing. How did Coach Prime – I don't know if he had to convince them or if he just says you guys are playing, but how is it that somebody is of the caliber of Travis Hunter and Shapiro Sanders, who have so much to lose and not as much to gain, why are they playing in this game? How are they able to get this team intact and play in this game, which makes this game so much better?
Well, I think it helps when, Travis Hunter considers Deion Sanders to be his father or a father figure at the very least. And, Shapiro Sanders is his literal father. So you're doing your dad a solid for doing so many good things for you, right? It's a lot easier because, these two guys are so invested in Deion Sanders' future at Colorado. And Deion Sanders said to both of these guys and more of the seniors, hey, this is an important part of our future. Additionally, let's not be, immune to what's going on here, right, guys? This is the Deion Sanders show, and it's his final opportunity to coach his son. This is going to do massive ratings. It's going to make all of these guys a giant amount of money. And this is already 2 players that have said they're not going to go to the NFL draft. They're going to do their own thing come the end of April, the night that their names are called. So these 2 guys are launching themselves into the stratosphere of earnings, and they're more important than the NFL. They're more important than the Colorado Buffaloes. They're more important than the Alamo Bowl. They're their own thing, and they're trying to prove that they're that valuable and that they have that much earning potential. That's what's going on here.
Wow. So with that being the case, how is it that Coach Prime is able to and again, I know it's the father figure thing, but even then you kind of go, hey, from a business standpoint, and you guys' net worth is going to be through the roof here, playing in this football game actually might be a losing prospect. So how do you get these kids to buy in when they do have such a potent, when they do have that high value? And what does it say about the culture that he's kind of built there too?
Again, I go back to the business proposition. Maybe for 99% of college football players, this is a losing business proposition to play in the game right before you're going to go to the NFL when everyone knows you're going 1-2 in the draft. For these 2 guys and the products that they're able to sell and the capitalization that they can make off of it for their own YouTube channels and their own branding channels, this can actually be a win. And to me, Deion Sanders is selling this to his kids as a win and a winning proposition, because if you're those 2 guys, they can make a lot of money. If you're anyone else but those 2 guys, well, it's your last chance to give a great showing when probably 10 million people are going to be watching this game. So this is not a losing proposition for me, but I totally understand why guys opt out of bowls in normal situations. Like, I was watching the Kansas State game yesterday, fellas. DJ Giddens was probably the best running back, if not the second best running back in the Big 12 behind both Cam Scadaboo, right? But for him, it made sense to not play in that game. We already had enough tape on DJ Giddens to know where he should go in the NFL draft. For Deion Sanders, everyone tunes in to watch the Alamo Bowl because of Deion Sanders and Shapiro Sanders. again, I'm not saying this. I don't personally believe this, but in their bubble, they believe they're bigger than the Colorado Buffaloes in the Alamo Bowl, so that whatever they're doing is going to draw attention.
So the strengths of Colorado are obvious. Shedeur Sanders is a terrific quarterback. They can throw the football well. They got great receivers. Travis Hunter, a freak unicorn, plays both sides of the ball. We've never seen anybody like this. And on defense, they get after the quarterback. They sack the quarterback a lot. What is the weakness of this Colorado team, something that BYU can take advantage of on either side of the ball?
Yeah, sadly for BYU, who has not had a great rushing attack this year, it is rushing. The games Colorado has lost at Nebraska, at Kansas, against Kansas State, it's all been a runner, whether it was Neal or Giddens, really just getting after the Buffaloes in a way that their defense could not get off the field, and they controlled the clock, and then the Buffaloes' offense really didn't have opportunities to go to work with their high potency. Additionally, in this game, Nakai Hill-Green, who has been Colorado's best defender this year, is in the portal. So he is not going to be in this game. So they might have some limitations in terms of getting after the quarterback in this game compared to where they've been at throughout the rest of the season. So I expect this game to be one of those classic Big 12 shootouts in the Alamo Bowl that goes like 41, 37, and it's just back and forth because Colorado does have a really good ability to win one-on-one matchups on the outside, but they're really not going to be able to stop the run game.
Jake Shapiro joining us from Denver Sports, covers, of course, among many things, his alma mater at Colorado. And the Buffs are how are they able to maintain this, I guess, trying to make sure that you get obviously a five-star prospect at quarterback is a big deal. Deion keeps adding guys that are high prospects. They want to come to a place like Colorado when they see the success that they have and when they see the type of pub you can get when you go there. But how do they maintain this year on year, especially since it seems like Prime wants to stay there in Colorado?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question because does some of the attention leave the Buffaloes in Boulder when Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter leave? I mean, you have the Heisman walking off campus, and again, probably the number one quarterback taken in the NFL draft leaving campus. Is a lot of this attention to Deion Sanders because of Deion Sanders, or is it because of the kids he had there? I think it's in part both. I think a lot of the attention and a lot of eyeballs will still remain on Colorado, and because of that, there will still be an ability to get recruits and talent to come to Boulder. You look at the assistant coaches that the Colorado Buffaloes have and the staff that Deion Sanders has assembled, and if you're a defensive lineman, of course you want to go play for Warren Sapp. If you're a defensive back, of course you want to go play for Deion Sanders. If you're a quarterback in the portal, like Slater has proven, you have an opportunity to play for Pat Shurmur, who I don't think that highly of, but he is a former NFL assistant coach, of the year guy, and he just coached the number one quarterback in the draft. There's a lot of incentive to go play there. So I look at what the Colorado Buffaloes have built, and then you got to give some credit to Phil Lodeholt, their offensive line coach, and the offensive line made giant strides this year, and they've already got some guys coming in the portal that seem like they're going to really fill in well around Jordan Seaton, their star left tackle, the freshman. I think it makes a lot of sense as a recruit and a talented player why you would want to go play at Colorado still, because they're ultimately going to have a lot of eyeballs on them no matter what, so long as Coach Prime is there.
Jake Shapiro, Denver Sports. We're going to enjoy this one tomorrow. We're hoping that this one is it's exactly what I want it to be. I want it to be 41-37.
This is the best bowl game of the season. There's no doubt about it.
And I want it to play out that way. So, Jake, we appreciate it, man. And awesome job as usual with all the teams you're lucky enough to cover. And Colorado, the Buffs being one of those. And so thanks for hanging out with us, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, man, if only we could see a Pop-Tart get eaten live at this bowl game. That would be number one for me.
That would have been the only addition to it.
It's the only thing you could do to make it better.
Of course. All right. Jake, we appreciate it, man. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys.
There you go.
Only if it was cinnamon and sugar.
Yeah, the brown.
You can have the fruit
cinnamon.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm browns.
I like that wild fruit one with the purple and the blue on it, though, too.
No sprinkles. Just brown sugar and cinnamon.
I'm like a 9-year-old when it comes to that stuff. And but I like my Pop-Tart, my live mascot. I like it to be still breathing a little bit when I eat it, just for the freshness sake.
Still breathing. Gross.
It's like going
You
to
hear his cries
one of those
as you
those-
take a bite into him.
You go to one of those sushi restaurants and you kind of go,
Oh my gosh!
I want it at the table.
You just totally ruined the Pop-Tart for me.
Kill
I'm
the
creeped out now.
Fillet the Pop-Tart right in front of me.
Oh my
Come
gosh!
on. It's a fruit filling, JJ.
Gross.
Come on.
Hey,
man.
I will tell you. Hey, that little Pop-Tart hack. After you pop that brown
Yeah.
sugar and cinnamon out of the, put butter on.
I've told you this.
Butter.
It's a fat guy move that I've
I've
been well aware of.
I know from experience.
I've been well aware of for years.
Yeah.
Because they do stay hot for about 19 minutes after they're out of
All those scars on the roof of your mouth
Oh, yeah.
go to prove that.
Hit it with the butter, and you got yourself a meal right there. All right, okay, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We got more to go. We got tons to jam on still. We've got our predictions that we're going to make when it comes to these the quarterfinal games for the college football playoff. The second round is coming up. We're going to see if we can get some of these, a few more of these right. Now knowing that all these games have been going the way of the home team and by big margins. We'll see how this one goes. More to go around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome to the jungle, officially.
We've got fun and games.
When I was a kid, so this was heavily featured. Tell me if this sounds true for you guys in Wyoming. So in Washington, our highlight film at the end of my high school, highly featured.
Yeah.
This song, Rage Against the Machine, obviously, lots going on there. And so you
Enter
had
Sandman, Metallica.
Right, a lot of stuff. where you're like-
Thunderstruck, AC/DC.
Yes.
You can't warm up for a football game without those songs.
We did have Bust a Move, though. This is a tale for all the fellas. And I'm like, that actually works well on like a nice pitch play that goes for 38 yards or something like that. If I kick somebody out on a pulling, pitch situation.
That's kind of fun.
Yes. Yeah.
Not as edgy.
What's that? Young MC.
That's right.
Love me some Young
MC's not young anymore.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he's no longer with us. You're pulling a me?
I didn't
You're
say
trying
that.
to kill him off?
Well, we better Google it.
Okay, can I guess? I'm going to say 58 years old.
Okay.
If Young MC is 60, I will be really sad.
You cheated.
Is it 50? Is he 57? 58.
He's 57 years old. He turns
But again,
58 in May.
Yeah, he'll be Young MC's coming up on 60 in the next couple of years. Oh, he's got a little bit of my situation going around in the middle. he's got some love handles.
Hey,
that's a. What is he wearing? A barrel?
he's had a little bit too much Funky Comadina.
Oh my goodness! How old's my guy? My posse's on Broadway.
Who?
Baby Got Back. What's his name? Seattleite.
You don't know his name?
Oh my goodness! Why is it? Well, anyway, gosh darn it! Why am I coming up full on lame?
Sir
on this?
Mix-a-Lot.
Sir Mix-a-Lot. He's a Seattle man.
How old is Sir Mix-a-Lot?
He's got to be 60.
He's older than Young MC.
Is he 60?
He's 61.
Gosh, all these guys. My heroes are all dying.
Isn't that crazy?
He's still with us, though, isn't he?
Oh, no, he's still with us.
Oh, good. Oof. I was worried about that. About it. All right.
Two of the greatest rappers of all time are still with us.
Alex told us something like, hey, did you tell us to move on? Is that what you said? All right, here's a.
You don't like our 80s hip hop
Come
talk?
on, man. Come on.
Jeez.
What do you mean you don't know half of them? Of
Tough
course
crowd.
You're less than half of their age.
Just because they hit big before you even born, Alex.
Hey, I don't know who Young MC is. Okay? Get out of here. That's your problem, not mine. Sheesh. All right. Hey, by the way.
Go on Spotify. Check it out, Alex. You like it.
What do you look up to? You just put like 80s?
80s hip hop.
What's nice about that was the 80s hip hop wasn't like you could play it around your mom. It wasn't cussing that much.
Are you sure about
that? At the beginning.
What songs were you listening to?
I'm saying the 80s ones, like your Run DMCs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That wasn't really hitting that because they were getting them hard with the explicit lyric on the CDs thing.
And Dr.
Right?
Dre kind of changed that for everybody.
Yes, Ice-T definitely,
Well, NWA.
Of course. All right. So there you go. Here's what we have. We've got quarterfinal matchups, and these are not going to be home games anymore. So the home team is not going to get the advantage in these. Now, was it the – I'm trying to think, too, because it was 27-17. Indiana lost that first one.
It wasn't that close, though. It was 27-3 most of the game.
Yeah, and I think they scored those last two drives in the fourth quarter.
Garbage time.
SMU lost by 4 touchdowns there at Penn State. Texas, again, that was another one that was the score actually was worse than this. The 38-24 was actually it was actually worse. Ohio State 42, Tennessee 17. That went about as well as I thought it would. So here's what we've got. The number 3 seeded Boise State Broncos are taking on Penn State. All right, and Penn State's a double-digit favorite in this one. That seems wrong, right? The number 6 team playing the number 3 team, and the number 6 team is a double-digit favorite in this one. And yet, I'm going to go right along with it. If we're going to do some of our predictions, that's the very first one. It's going to be at the Fiesta Bowl. Now, again, this is scene of the crime. Back in the day when they got their first BCS busting.
Boise State has history in the Fiesta Bowl.
So that might work well for them. And the fact that they've been disrespected like crazy, I don't know if they have what it takes to hang with a Penn State team who is obviously going to be more physical. I've watched a couple of Boise State games this year. They're closer than you want to be. They are not at the talent level. Look, Maddox Madsen, that's a hometown name right here, by the way.
We're in America Fork,
yes.
where he's from.
So I love it, and I love the idea that he could bring some juju there, but he's just not. And to me, this is another double-digit win, and I think that they're getting that right in the Fiesta Bowl. I'm going to go Penn State 27, and I'm going to go Boise State 16. So I'm going to go almost that full-on score that they had in the because I don't think Penn State's an amazing scoring team, but they could prove me wrong. But there you go.
I'm struggling with this one because Boise State gave Oregon their best game of the year. Boise State had a chance to beat Oregon at Autzen and just came up short. A field goal at the end. Oregon is number 1 and undefeated in the country right now, and the best game they got all year was from Boise State.
Yeah, but Boise State has not felt that put together since that game.
Did they just get bored in Mountain West play?
I'm not sure, or if it was just a target on the back thing that happens, at the end of seasons when you're that team that everybody is going after. You know what I mean?
I want to pick Boise State so bad.
I know I can't though.
But I can't either. I got to go Penn State. I made that mistake with SMU last week.
We all saw
because
big.
I thought SMU has that offense that can go to Happy Valley and give them problems. No, that defense shut them down pretty good. And I think that if Penn State stops the run, and I think they can, it puts a lot of pressure on Madsen to make some plays. And against that defense, you saw what Kevin Jennings did. I think it's going to be close. I think they cover. But I don't think they can get the win. I go Penn State.
Yeah. Okay. New Year's Day. So that's your New Year's Eve game. New Year's Day, we're going to be hit with a plethora of football games. The other 3 in the quarterfinals. The matchup, the first one is the Peach Bowl, which is, of course, where Arizona State's going to make its debut as Big 12 champs and as the number 4 seed in the college football playoff, taking on Texas. Now, the advantage that Texas has is when these other teams play, that's part of why I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, this Ohio State-Oregon rematch, that looks even more interesting, and I think that Ohio State kind of got a monkey off their back with that win, right? It did feel like, there's some recompense going on from the last time they were on the field at the Shoe and they lost to Michigan, and they absolutely blew the doors off of Tennessee. But Texas and Arizona State, I want so badly to root for Arizona State to upset Texas because it's one of the only teams that still has a little bit of that Cinderella feel to it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can go that. You know what? I'm going to do it, though.
Okay.
And tell me after I make my pick because then it'll be real. I'm going to say Arizona State wins that game. I'm going to go 21-13. I'm going to go 21-13. I'm going to say Arizona State plays some phenomenal defense, and they're going to get just enough out of their superstar Cam Scadabo. And I just don't think that what's his name, the Levitt kid, Sam Levitt. I don't think he's at the level yet, right? Where I think he could be, and I think he's going to be a superstar. But it's not his team right now; it's Cam Scadabo's team. I'm going to say that Arizona State wins that football game. They're going to keep Texas in check, and I'm going to go 21-13. What's the spread on that game?
13.5.
in favor of the Longhorns.
-13.5 for Texas. That's way too big for me.
That's 2 touches.
Again,
man.
Arizona State, I think, beats the spread, but they don't beat Texas.
You don't think they beat them?
I just don't think they
All
have.
right.
I think they're going to have to throw the ball. I know Scadaboo's great. Even if he breaks 1 or 2, you're playing Texas. You're going to need a lot more than that, and I'm not sure that pass game. The receiver's banged up. I know he didn't play in the Big 12 championship game.
Dyson.
Yeah, Dyson.
Or Tyson. Yeah,
Tyson.
Yeah.
He's a threat. I don't know what his status is as far as his health or where he's at. Without knowing for sure that those guys can throw against Texas, they can become too one-dimensional. And Scadaboo is been great, one of the top 5 players in the country this year, in my opinion. But it's just not going to be enough against that Texas team. I got Texas, but I do think Arizona State covers the spread.
All right. Look at you with a little backdoor compliment. Oh yeah, I think you guys will cover that. You guys have a really good year. You guys had a really good year. I think
I'm just one of the haters.
That's real cute. You know what's funny is like the people from Arizona who come out of the woodwork to defend Arizona State now, and I'm like, hey, 5 months ago you guys were like all on the same like we hate our team bandwagon.
Right.
All right. So I get it.
We suck.
I get it. It's a brand new feeling. BYU fans are going through the same thing. Brand new feeling. Double-digit wins this year. Overachieving. I think that they could absolutely do it. I think that's going to be my. I'm not going to go totally chalk.
That's your upset.
I was offended by how badly I made those predictions the first time around. And then next up here, let me see what else we have. So then let's go to that Oregon and Ohio State game. That's going to be the next one up on the list here. So what do you have between a rematch between the 2 best teams in the Big Ten Conference?
A rematch. That's why this is really interesting. These teams have already played each other this year. It was close. Oregon came away with the win. I think it goes Ohio State's way this time around. I like Ohio State. I don't think Oregon has felt really challenged since then. And with that much time to prepare and get ready, I just like Ohio State. I mean, Oregon's a great team, but like it's so hard to stay undefeated, especially a team that's already seen you once. I feel like Ohio State finds a way. Ohio State is the favorite, -2.5.
Really?
Yes.
I don't doubt it. I think part of the irony of that loss against Michigan is it might be the thing that propels them.
Well,
right?
They just absolutely embarrassed Tennessee.
I mean, it was 42-17, and it honestly they could have been up. They could have gone up 50.
They dominated
56
that game.
to 10, man.
It's not in the shoe in December. I get it. This game's going to be a little bit different at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, but I still like Ohio State in this game, but barely. It's going to be a great one.
I hope it is. I really do hope so. And I know that when they played at Autzen, it was close, and Ohio State felt like a better team for a lot of that night, and they ended up getting out-coached, which is, Ryan Day's problem. Like, he's already on that hot seat of –
the big games has been the issue.
Even though it's not a hot seat, he does feel like he's still kind of on that hot seat, a little bit to a degree where people are like, now, hold on a minute.
Poor guy's got 5 losses, but 4 of them are to Michigan.
Right.
That's all that people care about, right? Like, he beats everybody but.
They're like, he's 42-5. 42-5, but guess who he lost to? Michigan 4 times. Not good.
Guy can't coach.
And then this Oregon team was the other one.
Yep.
Are we missing anybody else on these predictors?
Georgia and Notre Dame.
Oh, that's right. Georgia taking on Notre Dame. Notre Dame. It's been cute. It's been fun.
Really?
I don't think they have it. I know that Georgia. Well, now here's the thing. Carson Beck. Although Carson Beck doesn't really add necessarily that much.
Oh. Did you see the other kid? I think it's a big deal. He's
What's
okay.
at the elbow? What's at the elbow?
Yeah, he's out.
Gonna play,
basically,
right?
UCL injury. He's out for the year.
Yeah.
He'll struggle to get back next year. Yeah. I actually like Notre Dame in this game.
All right.
I know it's Sugar Bowl. Georgia's been very experienced in that venue. It's SEC country, but I just think that Notre Dame is rolling right now. And it's crazy that I'm saying this when I was panning Notre Dame all year with their bad schedule and their loss to NIU, but they looked really, really dominant against Indiana. And I feel like Riley Leonard is the best player in this game. And if you have the best player in this game, you have the best chance to win this game. And that's why I'm going to pick Notre Dame over Georgia.
All right. I'm going to go Georgia because I still don't believe in Notre Dame. But, man, they're kind of getting lucky here, right? They're kind of getting the nice draw. Who they end up with? Not a very good Indiana team.
Georgia's kind of getting a nice draw.
Georgia ended up – yeah, Georgia got the free pass, right? Isn't that
essentially.
Yeah.
It's a 2-loss Georgia team.
Yeah.
They look very vulnerable to me.
Okay. All right. There you go. There's our predictions. I'm going to go Georgia with the win on that one, though, because I said it, and I'm going to stick to it. I made that decision. I just don't believe in Carson Beck, though, either, necessarily. Like, even if it were him playing the game.
Right.
Just kind of he's a total game manager. All right, let's take that break. We'll come back. We've got more. We are at the Doug Smith dealership in American Fork, the Doug Smith Mitsubishi. Come down, take a look, and give it a test drive, see what you got going on here. Coming up at the 5 o'clock hour, you've got Cole Bagley, our Utah Hockey Club insider for KSLSports.com. We have a Sucks to Be You next, a long list, a laundry list of people who currently it sucks to be in the world of sports. We'll have a couple of days to be able to throw a list together of people who it sucks to be currently. So stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Basking in the sports misfortune of others to help make you feel just a little bit better about yourself. As JJ and Alex present,
Yes, we got beat. We got beat badly.
It Sucks to Be You.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You had something like there that you something you felt like sharing with the group here?
No.
It's like being in school. Something you wanted to share? You just basically passed me a note. Why don't you read it to the entire class, JJ? No, I'm just kidding. Diego Pavia, former junior college football player extraordinaire, is currently leading
They don't suck today.
No, they don't. They're up 35-13 on the Georgia Tech Fighting Yellow Jackets. Do they fight? Or that just is implied?
Not today.
Right? No, they do not. 35 to.
It's delayed, by the way.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're Georgia
Somebody,
Tech, you're all.
Somebody at Buffalo Wild Wings decide they want to.
No, they do not.
Did somebody pull the lever at Buffalo Wild Wings?
The Georgia Tech guys are all, hey, emphasis on the rec part of the ramblin' rec part of today. We're struggling, all right? But, yeah, Vanderbilt. And when's the last time they won a bowl game?
Oh, man, I don't even know.
It cannot have been that. I mean, it sucks to be Georgia Tech because you're losing by 3 scores to Vanderbilt, and you have to explain that to your kids. So it currently sucks to be them. Any bowl game?
They lost the Texas Bowl in 2018.
Of course they did.
They lost the Independence Bowl in 2016. They won the Compass Bowl back in 2014 over the Houston Cougars.
Well, there you go. Okay. So their first
10
win
years
in the
ago.
bowl game 10 years ago. And again today, like we were saying, it's the 10th anniversary of the Miami Beach Brawl. Miami Beach Brawl, starring. And by the way, we were looking this up, and it was Jake Elliott with the 54-yard field goal that ended up tying it up to put this thing into its second overtime.
Yeah.
But man, it was a long list of a bunch of guys on that BYU squad that you're like, oh yeah, I forgot Algie Brown ran for 75 yards in that game. I forgot that was it Christian Stewart?
Christian Stewart
threw.
Remember Taysom Hill got hurt that year.
Threw for 300 and something yards, threw for 3 touchdowns, and then 3 interceptions, including the game-sealing pick when they lost that game to Memphis. But no one remembers that. Everybody just remembers
a wild ending that
guys
went viral for all the wrong
guys
reasons.
hitting each other with helmets.
It was nuts.
This is not a good one. All right, who else does it suck to be? It sucks to be Oklahoma, who finishes their season at 6-7. JJ, it's a real shame. I thought they were going to I thought
man.
Brett Venables and his guys, I thought they were going to be fighting for that SEC championship. At least they told us that they were going
When
to
are the
be.
Sooners going to catch a break? Come on. They always have that win over Alabama, though.
Oh, my goodness. Sucks to be the Jets. I'll tell you why.
Always and forever.
How about Aaron Rodgers throwing his 500th touchdown? Does it with his buddy. Let me see. No,
he could do it.
He could be throwing it. What is
He's
he
a 498?
499. So he's hoping to be the guy. So he could be third on the list, or he's already third on the list of all time. Or I guess it would be no, he'd be fifth on the list, and he would only be. It would be Tom Brady at 649, Drew Brees at 571, Peyton Manning at 539, Brett Favre at 508, and then it would be 500 touchdowns for your guy, Aaron Rodgers. The problem is it sucks to be Aaron Rodgers because no one cares. You're old and your team's not good, and the Jets suck.
Yeah.
So
I think everybody kind of just wants Aaron Rodgers to retire and go away.
do you think that you don't think he has any friends in that front office anymore?
He's trying to get released. He's trying to get cut.
Yeah.
He won't be back next year.
Let me see here. Who else does it suck to be currently? It does suck to be Mike Brown, who was fired today from the head
It does
coaching
suck
gig.
to be Mike Brown. It sucks to be the Sacramento Kings today. It sucks to be a Sacramento Kings fan.
Yeah, and you know what? They had some things turned around, right? Some things got turned around for them, and then
How tight are the windows in the NBA? Like, you think you've got something, and all of a
they've
sudden
gotten shorter, right?
they had that nice team 2 years ago that pushed the Warriors to 7 games in the first round, but they came up short. They missed the playoffs last year, right? And then this year they're not good. So, like, you think that team is loaded with all-star talent. They go all in on winning, and it just goes off. It just falls off a cliff. They've lost 5 in a row, and now they got to go out on the road. Those are 5 home games. They got to go out on the road. So it sucks to be the Sacramento Kings right now. Brutal week.
Sucks to be Eric Dickerson, who everybody's looking at you going, you're going to get your record run down, man. Saquon Barkley is this close to running down that 40-year. Can you believe that Eric Dickerson record is 40 years old, by the way? Eric Dickerson says, I'm absolutely not cheering for him to do it. I mean, you wouldn't be, right? I mean, all those – there's so many guys who have records. I mean, ask the 72 Dolphins why they celebrate every year, right? Eric Dickerson said, I am absolutely not going to be cheering him on. Saquon Barkley has 1,838 yards through 15 games. He says, is it lost on me that he's going to be able to do it in 17 games? No, but that's the nature of football. So he did get to mention it. I'm not going to whine about it except for he's doing it in 17 games. I only had 16. No problem.
Didn't he break OJ's record that was done in 14 games?
Yes. So he had. I think that's why a lot of the complaining doesn't really happen. Yeah, and OJ had a 2,000-yard season with just 14 games. So there you go. Saquon having – you know who else is not – it sucks to be the Giants. They're not cheering him on either.
Well, it's not going to suck to be the Giants in April when they have the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, but did you see Shefty with his, like, sweet analysis about how this thing goes? He goes, yeah, he could break the record against them, or he could have the ultimate diss, not break the record against them. You let the Giants win, and the way you ding them is that would actually give them about the 6th pick in next year's draft. And
that would be true revenge.
Oh, Shefty was, like, all for it. He was like, you know what? I did some math. And you're like, oh.
You've been working on your Shefty impression? That was pretty good.
Of course you did some math. I'm all for records. I like and a guy like Saquon Barkley, like the year he's having, the backward hurdle, the reverse hurdle, on a year that he breaks the record.
Unbelievable.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So let's do it. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. Cole Bagley, our Utah Hockey Club insider for KSLSports.com, is going to join us next. By the way, we want to mention, we want you to go online. We want you to nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. How does it work? You go to KSLSports.com/contest, and you can sign up that person who you think is doing a phenomenal job from a volunteer standpoint. Maybe it's somebody who even works for the city where you're at, and they're just doing that extra mile to make sure that your kids have an awesome sports experience. You can nominate them at KSLSports.com/contest, and they're going to get a Visa gift card if they win this thing. And then they're also going to get that's courtesy of Hercules Credit Union. And then they're going to also get $200 to Beehive Meals. It's been an awesome program for us. We want you to keep those nominations coming. Let's keep it going. All right, we'll come back. We've got more to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. With complete coverage of the Utah Hockey Club, this is Cole Bagley of KSLSports.com. On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Friday to you. It is a bowl game for BYU in Colorado tomorrow down at the Alamo Bowl. Jake Shapiro, who we had on from Denver Sports, of course, mentioned he had to mention that the Pop-Tarts Bowl, that's the only thing we're missing here is an edible mascot. And so I will say that the food down in San Antonio is actually really good. The Tex-Mex is
Oh, no, you go down to the Riverwalk, and there's some awesome barbecue down there. There's great food places down in San Antonio.
There's a place down there. You're a food guy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying this right. Chili's? Chili's? because the fajitas
I
come
heard
out.
they make great baby back ribs.
The
there.
fajitas come out sizzling.
They do.
I don't know if you know that. All right, go give it a shot.
You haven't lived if you haven't burned yourself on a Chili's fajita.
It's a hot plate, sir. It's a hot plate. All right, joining us right now on the program, just like the voice said, he is our Utah Hockey Club insider for KSLSports.com. Cole Bagley joining us on the program here. Cole, last time we chatted with you, the team was hot. Now they're on a 2-game losing streak, but it doesn't feel like it's that dire of a situation. This team has figured some stuff out. They're in these games. They have not had the blowout loss. That Dallas, the Dallas Stars game the other night was another close one. They were there right up there at the end, but it's another really fun one at Delta Center. So, give us an idea of what's going on with this team right now as they're in the midst of losing 2 in a row and facing off against the Colorado Avalanche tonight, which is a very, very good team and a division rival.
Yeah, I mean, they're 6-4 over the last 10, so, it's not like back in November, late October, where they'd lost, 4 or 5 in a row, and it seemed like all was lost and, everything was falling apart. It's just the nature of the National Hockey League. Every night is difficult. Every team is tough to play against, and, momentum swings are a big thing. I think that's what a lot of hockey fans are learning here in Utah is, Utah's up 4-1 against the Ducks. They end up losing 5-4 in overtime. So, that kind of stuff happens. Dallas is a very good team as well. They're fourth in the division. And I think something that's significant is over their last 7 losses, the Utah Hockey Club has only lost each of those by 1 goal. So, like you mentioned, they're not getting blown out. These aren't, huge losses. It's clear that this team is competitive. They can play. Some nights it's going to go their way and some nights it's not. So it's just about finding that consistency. It's about making sure that you maintain momentum. And, tonight's another night where they can prove that they can play with the best. Colorado has surged up the standings in the Central Division. They're now 3rd. They're 7-3 over their last 10, so just a little bit better than the Utah Hockey Club. And Nathan McKinnon is currently the best player in the NHL with 57 points. So, yeah, it's tough, but this team has definitely turned a corner, and I don't think that we were going to see, oh man, this team is awful, to wow, this is just a superior team in the National Hockey League. No, it's steady growth, and that's where they are right now, and hopefully they can keep it going tonight.
So many positive things to talk about with this team, but there's obviously you're always going to be looking for things that they can do better, and you mentioned it quite a bit in your reporting. Is the third line has been struggling. Why is that? What do you think the solution is for that?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that a line can struggle. I talked to Nick Bukestad about it this morning, and he says, for whatever reason, he's been in the league for a while, and he said he's been through stretches like this where whether it's individual or as a line, you're just kind of struggling, and you just kind of have to keep working at it and keep going through the motions and doing the things that are going to help out. From my own personal perspective, I think that line is just kind of lacking a spark. I don't see kind of that fire on that line. I think it's been better over the last few games. The effort's been a little bit better, but I think for a while, you only get 2 points over the course of 15 games collectively. It's tough, especially when some of the other lines are producing. Nick talked about it with me as well. He said, hey, it's, we're trying to stay out of our own heads, but that's another challenge in itself. So I think it's what Nick said. If they want to just kind of continue to roll with this line and see if they can break out and start to produce more consistently, it's exactly what he said. It's sticking with it. It's continuing to go through the motions. It's bringing a little bit more energy. And, he said one thing in particular is we just need to shoot the puck more, because the more opportunities you get, the more opportunities there are for the puck to go in the net. So that's what I kind of anticipate is, they'll keep rolling with them. And, I know that they're hoping that, things kind of start to flip the other direction.
The Avalanche are interesting because they haven't had great goalkeeping this year. It's been kind of inconsistent, but they just did sign up Blackwood for a 5-year deal, and he's been kind of that bright spot. They've been struggling back and forth. I think when last time we chatted with you and they were playing the Avs, it was this Avalanche team. It was ahead of Utah in the division standings, but their goal differential was a struggle. Where are they at right now from a goalkeeping standpoint now that they've inked a new goaltender for that 5-year deal and almost, I think, what is that, $27 million a year for Blackwood as he comes in? Where do they stand right now, and how do they improve that portion of their game with that new signing today?
Honestly, I was kind of surprised by it. I don't think he's a phenomenal goaltender, and they've only had him for a couple weeks. And so I think it's kind of interesting to see a deal like that take place. I know that there were some other, national writers and such that were a little, confused by it. But, yeah, I mean, I think they're just playing better collectively as a unit. The thing about the Avalanche is they're going to score a lot of goals. I think they're one of the top 5 teams in the NHL in terms of putting the puck in the net, and that's going to happen when you've got a guy like Nathan McKinnon who's got almost 60 points by himself, and then Cale Makar, the best defenseman in the league, and Mikko Rantanen. And so, I mean, they're a very offensive-minded team. Their goal differential right now is +1, and so basically they're just, they're putting the puck in the net a bunch, and just enough, 1-2 more times than the other team. A lot of their games are high-scoring. As far as their goaltending goes, I guess time will tell if that contract pays off. I think for them, it's more of they haven't really had decent goaltending for a long time. I don't even think they had decent goaltending when they won the Stanley Cup a few years ago. They just were so good that it didn't matter. But now they're kind of reaching more of a point where some of their roster is thinned out a bit, and they need more, solid net minding, and so they got a guy that they believe in. He's not bad by any means. I think he's top 30 in the league in goals against. I think he's like 2.83 against a night. So, good goaltender. I think they've just been looking for one for a long time, and they came across one, and they decided to sign him. So I guess we'll see how it turns out.
If they're going to beat a team as good as the Avalanche tonight, they're going to have to continue to be good on the penalty kill, but that's what they've done over the last 11 games, 33 for 37 on penalty kill. What's the key to being great at penalty kill, and why has this team been so good over those 11 games?
Well, first of all, you need a good goaltender. And Karel Vejmelka has been superb. He's a top 10 goaltender right now, and I think his greatest skills are, how quickly he responds and how well he sees the puck. Something that Coach Bear said, directly speaking about, what is helping Vejmelka have the season that he's having. He said he just tracks the puck really well. And so, if a goalie knows where it is, he can most times make that save. And then as far as the rest of the team, a lot of it's about maintaining your shape, right? So if you're down a 5-on-4, it's a box shape, for the most part. And you can either go at it, directly for, or sometimes they might pinch one of the forwards up a little bit higher so that they can defend the wings with 2 on the wings and 1 in front of the net. So it's just maintaining your shape. It's every guy, accounting for his area. It's, sacrificing your body. They're getting a lot of block shots from Sergachev and Ian Cole. That's why Ian Cole is missing about 4 or 5 teeth right up front there. But then, they're playing as a unit. PKs are hard. 5-on-3s are the worst. But this team has some of the best special teams in the NHL right now, both offensively and defensively, and it just speaks volumes to how well they're playing as a collective unit.
Cole, one of the things that we've been following, obviously, with this team is, whatever the points race is going to end up being, where they're at right now with the points that they have so far this season, knowing also, I think Winnipeg also surpassed that 50-point spot already this year, and so this is a tough division as we've talked about. But from a point standpoint, where are they this year compared to maybe not exactly necessarily where they were last year? That's a little bit of homework for you on the fly, but where are they right now and compared to where they were last year, and kind of and also on track, or if they're behind the game when it comes to where they're supposed to be development wise?
Yeah, I think based off the knowledge that I have of last year, they were in the playoff race in December, about the same point margin. But I think, collectively, the division's a little bit better than it was top to bottom last year. The Jets obviously are having a phenomenal regular season. Colorado is in the race as everyone anticipated they would be. Dallas is in the race as everyone anticipated. But I think the fact that Minnesota has taken such a step, right, has added another team to that, playoff race. And so it's making things a little bit more difficult. But I do think this team is ahead just based on potential, based on who they are, the emergence of some of the young stars, the additions of guys like Stenlund and Ian Cole. And, John Marino, I think is, based off what I'm hearing, should be back, around February is kind of the timeline that I'm hearing right now. I think Maverick Lamoureux is supposed to be back mid to late January. And so, if they can keep playing this way, if they're winning 60, 70% of the games that they're playing, if they can get a couple guys back onto that blue line to shore it up a little bit more, and if, Vejmelka continues to play as good as he is, they're in a really good spot. Last year they lost 14 games in a row. I can't remember exactly when that was. I want to say late January, early February, that just put them out of the race. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that there were all these rumors of the team, being sold, and eventually that happened. And, how can you focus and play, meaningful hockey when you don't know where you're going to end up the following season? But they're here now. They've got a really good squad. Things are working. They're playing well. They're getting, veteran contributions and leadership from a couple guys. Cooley and Gunther are, superstars in the making, and it's looking good. So I like their chances. I'm not going to say, yeah, they're for sure a playoff team. No, but they have the potential. If they can if they can play the rest of the season like they've played December, I think they'll make the playoffs.
You just mentioned Gunther, and I'm looking at stats. And did you expect Gunther to have more goals at this point than Nathan McKinnon? It's pretty impressive.
No, phenomenal. It's incredible what Dylan is doing. Like I said, I think him and Logan Cooley are superstars in the making. And Bill Armstrong was very, very smart in the fact that he was able to extend Dylan for as long as he was able to. This year I think we're going to get 3 or 4 years down the road, and we're going to go, okay, this is a steal of a deal for Dylan Gunther, and Logan Cooley will be up for an extension after this season, and I expect the same thing. So, yeah, we got some very, very good young talent on this team.
Do you think that deal happens if they're still in Arizona, meaning with the old owner? Is that the difference in this move, where you're able to make that big of a commitment to a player when otherwise they may have held off or been told to hold off?
That's a good question. It's hard to say. I know, what 21-year-old's going to turn down over $7 million a year? I don't know very many that would say no to that, but I think it helps. I've talked to so many of the guys over the last few weeks, and they just love it here. It's night and day difference. Utah is really transforming into a hockey state. Salt Lake is quickly evolving into a hockey town, just with the reception, with the people that come through here every night. Ryan put a bunch of tickets up for free tonight, and they're going to pack the barn, and it's going to be just an incredible atmosphere. And so I think it helps. I don't know that he would have said no necessarily, but I think it was a very easy yes for Gunther.
When does the All-Star voting fire up? Usually it's around the beginning of the year, I think, when the fan vote opens up. And how does it compare to how they do other leagues? You have some version of the voting that happens from the fan, and then then the league kind of decides, and the NFL or the NHLPA obviously has a lot to do with how they make those determinations. But what does that look like? And I know Clayton Keller was an All-Star last year, but does this team line up to have another All-Star or two this year?
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be All-Star voting this year because of the Four Nations face-off.
Oh, that's right.
They're having that kind of preview of the Olympics, if you will, in February. But unfortunately, Keller was not named to that roster. If you ask me, I believe he was snubbed, especially with how he's been playing since he was not named to that roster. So I don't think there's All-Star voting this year, but there obviously will be awards, come the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see if, a guy like Vejmelka has a shot to be named one of the top goaltenders or not. I think the way he's playing, if he can continue to do so, I think he's going to have it. And if Utah makes the playoffs, he might have a shot.
All right, Cole Bagley, of course. We're looking forward to this one tonight, and of course, anytime that you have a Colorado Avalanche and Utah Hockey Club facing off against one another at Delta Center, it's a really fun one. So have fun tonight, and we'll chat with you again. And thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Yeah, thanks. Anytime, guys.
There you go, Cole Bagley, everybody. That's a fun one to go to.
Oh, we talk about the formation of rivalries.
Yeah,
things building.
Vegas comes
takes
to
time.
town. Colorado comes to town.
These are regional teams that you're going to be playing a lot, and you're starting to develop a history with these teams. And tonight's another one of those games where you continue to develop that relationship with the neighbor.
Relationship. Situationship. It's complicated.
Very.
I don't like them. But they live by you, and so you have to put up with it.
Yep. You live in the same division.
The same time zone. All right? Figure it out. Right around the corner. We've got some NFL to I've got a beef with the NFL. There's some real crap games. There's been some real crap games over the last few weeks.
Christmas was craptastic.
Christmas was bad. And then yesterday, I went home, and I'm in my chair rocking back and forth going, what am I supposed to do with myself? That was maybe the worst.
I have a confession to make when we come back.
All right, we'll come back. We'll talk.
It's embarrassing.
We'll talk NFL. Our Blitz is next, so stay here. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. You know what that music means, of course. For NFL Blitz, JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. JJ, how's it been being back at work today, brother?
Good.
Yeah,
we're having
look,
fun.
We have had fun.
We're selling cars.
Well, we aren't.
Oh.
Although at this point, I think you know what?
I want my milkshake.
Give me my commission milkshake. That's it. What I do love is that Chris sold that car to his buddy, and his buddy goes, "I'm gonna get you a milkshake." That's like totally like my grandma would do. JJ, I love you. I'm gonna get you a milkshake because you did such a good job on that car sale.
Is that a sales version of a Werther's original from your grandma?
Exactly right. She busted. Remember when we were there at the mall the other day, and that grandma came by and she dropped off a bunch of Lifesavers. I still think about that because I love those Lifesavers so much. All right. Here, you can get a whole shiny quarter.
It's crazy. I don't buy them, but when I'm offered one, I'm like,
they're there.
I kind of enjoyed that.
Yep. Yeah. All day. Yes, but like I said, we're at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi here in American Fork, and we've been hanging out all day, and it's been a fun time. So, before we get to our NFL Blitz, BYU versus Colorado tomorrow. That's going to be a 4:30 Cougar pregame show. Myself and Jake Hatch, that's going to kick that off right at 4:30, and you're going to be able to hear all sorts of fun stuff, including the press conference today between Coach Prime and Coach Kalani Sitake. Couldn't imagine two more different dudes, by the way, sitting down. Prime was wearing white overalls. It was like he was in a boy band in the late 90s. It was sweet. But, of course,
Coach Prime's back. All right.
Do you know what the brand of overalls were, though?
I did not notice.
Prime brand.
Oh, I see what he was doing.
They were his. I don't know if
he's going into the off season, which is prime season.
Yeah, of course.
He's got his show coming out.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
selling, I get it.
And he's got all those things. All those irons are in the fire.
Dude is a master marketer.
But you're going to be able to catch that, and then the post game, of course, as well. As soon as that thing goes final. So, BYU versus Colorado. Man, I'm crossing my fingers that one turns into a really good game.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be. On paper, it says it is. All right. The Cowboys have now shut down CeeDee Lamb for the rest of the season with his shoulder injury. I would just go ahead and say, hey, Mike McCarthy, you're shut down for the rest of your season as well. Will Jerry Jones have the guts to fire Mike McCarthy
no, he
at
loves
the end
him.
of the season?
He'll be back next year.
What?
I'm
serious. Did he already say it?
I think he's really happy with him. They have that nice.
He's been happy with him.
I don't know.
It's been some of the worst. My favorite thing is say what
Jerry's
you will about
a prideful
Jerry Jones.
man.
He is. Say what you will about him, too. He's like, I'm going to still go on my radio show every week.
How long did Jason Garrett last as the head coach in Dallas?
Way too long.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Like, when do they just Jerry Jones, you can say what you want about him. He just doesn't do stuff on a whim. Like, he doesn't just fire people. He's a pretty loyal dude. Like, he picks his coach, and, like, he's pretty stubborn. It's like, this is going to work. We're going to make this happen. He's been stubborn for 30 years. They haven't done a dang thing for 30 years.
I thought I was loyal to the Seattle Seahawks until last night. A 6-3 win. Now, they won the game. I should be – they have 9
What's wrong with you? They're still alive for the playoffs.
I know. They have 9 wins on the season.
They're right there. The Rams lost. They're right back in it.
They could win their last 2 games, and if they do, they'll win the division.
Right.
Which is crazy. Thinking that who would have had the 49ers as the worst team in that division, by the way?
Not me. I picked them to win the Super Bowl.
I know.
The show we did before the season. Again, I'm an idiot.
No, but we laugh at it, but at the same time, like, we were like, they have a very short
All
window.
their stars got hurt. That happens.
But apparently that window is even shorter than we thought. So the Seahawks win 6-3 last night. It's the 10th loss in a row for the Bears. And I know they have an interim head coach. I just don't know if that situation's fixable. I think that the NFL has ruined another young quarterback.
Who wants that job?
What, the quarterback for the Bears or the head coach?
I should be more specific. Who wants to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears?
That's a would you rather.
It's a coach graveyard.
Head coach or starting quarterback for the Bears, because neither one gets a lot of action.
We talked about this when Caleb was drafted. It's like, name the Hall of Fame quarterback for the Bears franchise.
Never.
Who?
Yeah.
Jim McMahon's the greatest quarterback, and his career was cut short by injury.
Is Kyle Orton, is he a Hall of Famer?
He had a Hall of Fame beard. That's about it.
Oh,
by the way,
6-3. That was such an awful game to watch.
I have a confession to make.
What do you
This
have?
is really embarrassing because I love football.
You're an
I
NFL,
love
you're an
watching
NFL
football.
guy too, yeah.
Yeah, I sat down on the couch last night to watch that game. I didn't last 15 minutes. I was out.
Oh, I
fell asleep.
I don't blame you.
It was bad.
No, I don't blame you. I think most of the
Maybe
reason
it was the rain and just like
it was all of it. It was
vibe
so bad to
was
watch.
so sleepy.
So many punts last night. I don't know if it set a record, but it felt like it. I just don't know.
I hope Prime got their money's worth last night.
They did
Brutal.
not. They did not, because even their announcers are like, "This game sucks." Doesn't
Oh,
it? Back to you.
Look, the NFL is king, but then there's nights like last night. You're like, man, not every game's great. Not. There's moments, and you get late in the season. There's a lot of guys that are banged up and hurt, and you have situations like the Bears where the wheels kind of come off. But there's going to be some great games this weekend. So the NFL overall will be fine this weekend, but between the 2 blowouts on Christmas Day and Thursday Night Football being an absolute dud, not a great start for the second to last week of the season.
14 punts last night in the game.
Well, 14.
7 for each team.
I love special teams.
It was not the most times that the Bears had punted in the game this season.
Of course not.
Neither was it the most that the Seahawks have punted
really?
in the game this season. So,
wow.
I want to apologize to all of America that my Seahawks have actually turned around a couple of the most dud. And look, I feel bad because the Bears' defense is pretty good. And they have, like, veterans on that defense. You have Jalen Johnson, too, when you think about a guy who's an all-pro dude. And their inside linebackers have the most starts, I think, of 2 inside linebackers in the whole league. So they have a lot of but, you know, when you hold the team to 6 points, you're at home, you think you might have a shot. You do not. You do not, Bears. And Jalen Johnson, they were even interviewing him before the game, and they brought it up, and they said, what are you looking for in a head coach? He goes, offense. I want an offensive-minded coach. This is coming from one of the best defenders in the league. He's like, give me an offense, please.
Well, I have bad news, Jalen. They've never been good offensively in Chicago, ever in my lifetime.
Bad deal.
They had Walter Payton and Jim McMahon in the 80s. Since then, they have not been good.
So Jalen Hurts was in concussion protocol as of this morning, and it's now official. He's going to be out against the Cowboys this Sunday. That's bad news for the Eagles, because
it's good news for the Lions and Vikings.
Yeah, it's just it's a tough deal, because when you go out because of a concussion, you are definitely on that list of everybody staring you down going, yeah, but are you really okay? Yeah, but are you okay now? Let me see your eyes. Like, how many numbers am I holding up? And the NFL will get you out on the field, pretty quick and they couldn't justify getting him out on the field. So there you go. You had something else on that.
I was just going to say the Eagles are only a game ahead of the Commanders.
Ooh.
Like, they could literally fall from playing for the top seed to falling to a wild card.
What's the Commanders' record, by the way?
They're 10-5.
Oh my goodness, how good of a job have they done this year?
It is really impressive.
Crazy.
But the Eagles end with the Giants, so they'll probably get that win and get the division.
Yeah, they will. All right. Teddy Bridgewater, by the way, unretiring after his high school that he coached just won a title. And he's coming out. He's signing with the Lions.
That's cool.
I don't know if it is.
There's some. Well, no. Let me say why it's cool. Because it tells you a lot about the person. So why would the Lions want to do this? Why would they want to bring in Teddy Bridgewater at this point? Because they need a guy like that in their locker room, right? They need somebody who has experience, who has. It's not about what he can do on the field. Obviously, that's not going to be a factor. That tells you a lot about the person, what they accomplished in their career. How long did Ty Detmer play in the NFL?
Let me see
15 years.
Is that what it was?
How many years was he a starter?
Yeah,
maybe half that. Maybe not even that.
Why
did he last so long in the league? Because he was valuable for a lot of different reasons besides being a starting quarterback.
Chase Daniel. Think of all these guys who are always those dudes. By the way, did you see that Jaren Hall was on the active roster this week? Good for him, man. I know he was the third quarterback, but I will tell you right now, you and I both know that who's the is it Howell? Sam Howell.
Yeah.
He is terrible.
He sucks.
And Jaren Hall could easily find himself being the backup quarterback.
If he's with Seattle next year, he's going to be their backup quarterback, and we all know what that means. You're one play away.
With Geno Smith, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I was glad to see him on the active roster. I always love when those guys get the full payday.
Mm-hmm.
That's always fun for us.
That's good.
And then finally, the Browns and Deshaun Watson have agreed to a restructured contract. So $19 he's going to get next year.
Is that the worst free agent signing of all time in the NFL?
I'm just, you know what? For them, it's smart that they actually got to do it. They said he's got a cap hit of $73 million in 2025 and 2026.
Oh gosh. That's as bad as the Russell Wilson hit.
Okay.
You can't miss on these. You can't swing and miss like that on a quarterback. You can't do it. It kills you.
It looks like that he's going to be under contract the next 2 seasons, but then he's set to be a free agent in 2027.
Oh,
so
get in line, everybody.
Can't wait. No, you made your money. I don't know what he's going to end up getting at the end of all of it, but instead of the $230 million deal that they started off with and all of it fully guaranteed, it's going to end up like being 207, 210.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not like he's getting out of there and he's not going to get the payday. Almost all that money has already hit the bank account. That's how they do
$200 million to a bad quarterback and a bad person.
Yep. You said it, not me.
Wow.
But I'll say it. He's a bad dude.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got best and worst next, and we'll wrap things up here with our buddy Chris here at the Doug Smith dealership in American Fork. It's the Mitsubishi. You want to come check it out. We've got our best and worst next, so stay here, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. We are at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi here in American Fork. We're going to chat with Chris in just a moment here. Get the best and worst before we get to him. De facto best from him. By the way, best and worst always brought to you by the Doug Smith family of dealerships. If it's the Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Subaru, Kia now, of course, in Linden, and then, of course, we've been at the Mitsubishi here in American Fork. We just love the Doug Smith family of dealerships, so come check them out for yourself in both of the forks. If you get a fork in the name of it, you can have a Doug Smith dealership, and now, of course, like I said, the new Kia dealership in Linden as well. Best of the day. Oh, my goodness. Do we have that audio, Alex, of oh, my goodness. I'm not a huge Shane Gillis fan.
You're not?
I mean, that's not true.
Anybody that has the guts to do this in front of Nick Saban is an incredible comedian.
Huge. But, like, when he does SNL, too, he does a really good job.
His Trump is amazing.
His
Have you heard
Trump
him do
is
Trump?
really funny,
oh,
of
man.
course. But this was him. He was the celebrity picker on game day, and he's sitting at the same table as Nick Saban. Nobody messes with Nick Saban. Shane Gillis messes with Nick Saban. Here's what it sounded like.
You called him a cheater earlier.
I was just joking around. I don't think the SEC paid players ever.
Period.
I'm joking. Are we not? Is this not a fun show?
No.
Serious show?
Serious football.
Alabama Jones is very serious.
No, I'm not serious.
Get the whip, Indy.
I do believe in integrity. I always tried to run the program that way so players had a better chance to be successful in life.
I agree.
We make more money in the NFL than any other school, 61 players in the league. That was how we cheated. We developed players. We recruited.
I'm so sorry.
Bad guy.
I love that when he goes, "I'm so sorry. I did not know everybody's
Jeez,
going to."
Alabama Jones, lighten up, bro.
But he was wearing the hat.
He
Get
takes
the whip,
himself way
get the
too
whip,
serious.
Indy. I mean,
oh
my
gosh.
goodness. It was
Shane
as good
Gillis
as it
is
gets.
the best.
It was awesome. And then the worst, we just talked about this earlier in the show. We got the alert
tough
that,
news.
Greg Gumbel, long time sports broadcaster, passes away, complications of cancer at the young age of 78 years old. So there you go.
John Stockton sends the Utah Jazz to the NBA Finals. That was his classic call here.
That was his call here, yeah.
Just a pro's pro. Always great.
78 years old, passes away. So there you go. Joining us on the program now, he is Chris Smith, the Doug Smith family of dealerships. Chris has only been here 40 years, so if you have any questions, you probably got to ask somebody else. He's only going to be able to answer all of it, except for a couple of those extra questions. Now, when somebody does ask a question though about the Mitsubishi, it's an easy sell. When you ask somebody, "Hey, what do you think about the look of this car?" They look better than they think they're going to because they don't have in their head maybe what the new models of a Mitsubishi even look like. That's why we're asking people to come in and test drive them.
Yeah, the styling on them are just great, top to bottom. We have they don't do a ton of different models, but what they do focus on is just the quality of the vehicle, interior, exterior, the technology's so good to use, easy.
Pretty good in the snow. We got the snow, we got the ski rack on the Outlander Sport here behind you.
Right.
I just assume you're going up to the mountain. It's going to be an easy one for you.
Yeah.
All that's amazing, but people like me who are cheap.
Oh yeah.
We hear the $398 down.
Yeah.
We all want a deal.
I know.
$398 down, $398 a month on a 3-year lease. You're not going to get a better deal than that.
No, and that's close to a $50,000 vehicle as well.
That's
crazy.
So if you looked at lease, it's leasing.
Yeah.
And it works for a lot of people. Some it doesn't. We can do both ways, but that's just a very good deal. So yeah,
I think everybody's going to be into leasing when you have a deal like that, and you go look, because most of the time people look at it and they go, "Oh, okay, let's look at the depreciation. Let's look at what we're looking at.
What's their interest rate? All
right,
those
but when you sit
it's
down,
not an issue here.
But when you sit down and you show them what that guaranteed negotiation at the end of the lease is going to be, it's all up front, and so they tell you, and that's the part too where it's all up front. They're going to be very clear about how this is going to go.
Correct.
But $398 down and $398 a month, like a true $398 down and $398 a month, that's an awesome deal.
Yeah, and there's no questions asked. I mean, it's on approved credit, different things like that, but it is so cut and dry it's just this. It's just $398 down.
You like, what's the catch? It's not
There's
a catch.
no catch.
Well, the catch is maybe you have to come in and test drive it and then go, "Oh, shoot, they did get me on this. They did.
Yeah, right.
They told me it was going to be good, and it is.
Yeah.
So come check it out for yourself.
Please come drive one,
Do it.
Chris is really cool about just have a seat and like let's get through this thing and let's work a deal out. It's a really chill environment. Every time we come here, it's a very low-key situation. This is how the shop is run. It's like, hey, we want to make sure people are comfortable with it. We're not going to shove anything down anybody's throat.
No.
The car sells themselves.
It
so
does.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, I just want to facilitate for the people when they come in and drive it, and if they want to move forward, great. So
easy to find. You get off at the American Fork Main Street exit. You come east about a half a mile. That's the In-N-Out Burger exit here in American Fork. You come east, and you can find the Mitsubishi.
Yeah. Salt Lake County folks, don't miss out on this deal. It's not that far of a drive.
It isn't. It really isn't. I'm up in Fruit Heights. It's the 38-minute drive from me.
Yeah.
That's
worth
really,
it on a
really
deal
close.
Like that.
So come down, get the deal done, and let's go. Chris, thanks for hanging out
love
with
that
us.
help. Thank you guys so much.
All righty.
Okay.
We'll come back. More to go around the corner, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.